thank you very much for the break. Give us a call if you have any questions for Mr. Kleijweg on this topic. I know it's a sensitive topic, but we've got to get to a level where we are bold to discuss issues and not be intimidated by anything. We don't have to stand up for what is right and stand up against what is evil. Okay. So, Mr. Kleijweg, please tell us what any human trafficking victim can expect to go through, let's say, if they make the step to report a situation to law enforcement authorities, like a police or a lawyer. What can you give us an idea of the tragedy they have to go through?
Okay, Pastor, that's a long, may I be permitted to give a long answer?
Yeah, sure.
It is a tragedy they don't have to be afraid of. When they come to a lawyer, who is of course not a law enforcement, but in these cases lawyers work very closely together with law enforcement. Then they first will have a friendly talk with the lawyer, but if they go straight to law enforcement too. But advisable is to go to the lawyer
first. Okay.
They will have a talk, just half an hour or an hour, in which the lawyer takes their story. The lawyer will not ask your passport or things like that, just informal talk, and they will listen to your situation. Crucially, of course, is that you talk to the lawyer and you be honest to the lawyer, because if you tell a different story or half a story, that will be very difficult.
Okay.
You just can tell your story there.
Yes.
The lawyer will assess your situation and will explain you, well, maybe we could do this, maybe we can do that. And
so
really,
every human trafficking situation can be different.
every case is can be very different. It depends also on the person, him or herself, the situation in his country of origin. Does he have children or not? Those problems can be addressed too. Then we, everything, the control of the situation will be with the person who is coming and visiting the lawyer.
Yes.
That person is always in control. Nobody is going to force him this way or that way.
Okay.
You just can come for a talk. You can just ask the lawyer to have contact with you, for you with the police.
Yes.
And imagine that you don't want to continue with it. Okay, the lawyer will withdraw, no problem. If you want to continue with standing up for your rights, then the lawyer will contact the police and will introduce your case to the police. And then you have again an appointment, in this case with the police. Police officers, certainly in this matters, are really kind. Once again, I respect them very much for this. And they will have a talk about you. What happened to you? How did it come this way? Who is involved? And the police, if you are indeed a human trafficking case, the police will give you time to think what you're going to do. They give you a temporary permit to stay in the Netherlands. For 3 months they will give you, if necessary, they take care of your housing, even if necessary in a protected place. You get some money to live from. You will basically be taken out of misery immediately. And you have 3 months time to think what you're going to do next time.
If I may, is it possible for anyone to pretend that they have a human trafficking, they are a human trafficking victim, and try to exploit the system?
Certainly, Pastor. That is one of the things that is also annoying me, because the police and the public prosecutor are all working hard, the lawyer is working hard, and some people try to abuse that system. Usually it is not so easy to abuse the system, because the lawyer is asking you a lot of questions, and the lawyer is all but not crazy. The police is also asking you a lot of questions, and the police are nice and kind, but they're not crazy.
Not crazy either.
So, unless you have a real story, then you will be treated with all kindness. If your story is not true,
if it's bogus,
I try to avoid. No, indeed, your story is bogus, Pastor. Then you are also committing. Well, if you file the complaint, it is against breach the law to tell bogus
Lies.
stories to the police, and lying to the police. Lying is never any good, but certainly not to the police. Let's put it this way, one should refrain that at his own risk. However, many people do have a real story, and they can, in the end, file a complaint. Filing a complaint is basically going to the police and formally tell your story. Your story will be written down, and you try to point to some suspects, the people who did this to you.
Yeah. So what happens if the suspects are not in the country, but they are maybe outside of the country?
That's a good one.
They will be able to find them. But the most important is when you file a complaint, that you provide the police officer, because the police must go searching for those suspects, with as much as possible information about the suspects or the people who did this to you, or the address where you've been working, because you can file a complaint to the police, but if your complaint does not contain any leads for the police to make an investigation, the investigation will stop in short time. So always gather as much as possible information about the place where you've been working, the place where you've been abused, and the people who are using you. It could be finding a license plate of a car, a telephone number, the address where you have been working, and names, nicknames, anything relating to these persons or the place where you've been working that enables the police to find those suspects.
Oh, wow.
For the duration of the investigation, then one will get a residence permit, but it's only for the duration of the investigation. So if your complaint is no good, it contains no leads, the investigation will stop in short time, and so will your residence permit. In those cases where there are good leads in the investigation, they are likely to find some suspects. And somebody who is a suspect is of course not yet a convict, but we're going the right way then. And if there will be a conviction in those cases, your residence permit given to you for also for protection of you is to be turned into a permanent residence permit. Also, if there are no suspects, if there are no convictions
made out of the suspects,
then if the case has been pending for longer than 3 years, you might also have a permanent residence permit. Or if there is a serious threat against you, although they were not convicted, then there's also a possibility of getting a permanent residence permit. So those who are filing a bogus complaint do it at their own risk, and those who are not filing a complaint with any kind of details, although not bogus, but they holding something behind, they will not have much to go for, except the escape from their situation. It is really the solution for those who are full-minded and full-hearted to stand up for their rights, gather information about the culprits, and file a complaint with as much as possible information. And of course, I always try to explain that to my clients. I always try to help them making an as detailed as possible complaint, because that is leading, it's possibly leading to success. And I think it's also very morally very important that we should refrain from making all kinds of complaints to the police, because they are overworked, they're doing good work, and we should not overburden them with all kinds of things. They shouldn't be overburdened with. Either you do it well or you don't.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Kleijweg. Also, soon our time is going up, but you've given us some very important tips regarding those who are in a situation of abuse, especially who have been brought here under some sort of compulsion to do things against their will, and they are not being treated fairly. They have the option to be helped.
And that also goes for the witnesses of those situations, because you don't have to be a victim, but you might know something about it.
And how does that help the witness? The witness have anything to gain.
If the Well, sometimes fighting evil shouldn't be for the gain.
But
Yes,
I like
yes.
that.
If
Yes.
there is one thing you can do against it, one
Yeah.
should do it. I think Martin Luther King was very right when he said it is not enough to not take part in evil, one must fight it.
Yeah.
Then the witness can also give this information to the police, and the same treatment will be there for the witness. If the witness, yes, for the permit, for the protection, etc. If the witness is a regular immigrant or a Dutch person, he also can give the information to the police.
Okay.
If he doesn't want to get known, that's also possible. You
Okay.
can go to either to a lawyer, or there is also the telephone line, Meld Misdaad Anoniem, M, and you can call them and give the information to the police through that channel. That's also very helpful fighting these cases.
Yes.
Wow, thank you so very much. I believe we all have to partake in crushing evil from our midst, and especially when it comes to exploiting our own kind and taking advantage of one another, it's not good. And so please be equipped with this information as we go through the year. If you know somebody in a vulnerable position, please don't keep your mouth shut. Find a way to help so that everybody can have a dignified existence in a community. Well, thank you so very much, Mr. Kleijweg. I believe we're gonna have to bring you back to discuss some other issues. But at least we have set the ball rolling on this topic. And if we have further questions, of course, we'll pass them on to you. So, listeners, if you have any further questions for Mr. Kleijweg, give us a call or send us an email, and we will forward this to him in his office in Voorburg. Well, by way of closing remarks, I don't know if you want to say something before we end the conversation this morning.
No, Pastor, I think I want to thank you for this opportunity, and if people contact the Voice of Naija or my office, everybody will get a decent answer in this matter, and it will be will be free of charge. This matter is too important to bother about things like that. Please, everybody with a real story, witness or victim, please come forward and tell your story.
Yes.
So this must stop.
This must stop. And you can be protected. You can give your witness anonymously. You don't need to reveal your identity. As long as you have a true and a valid story, make sure you let the story out, and you will be protected for that. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you very much.